I have to admit, lads, I should have made this video after the 12th episode of the series since everyone already knew by that point how Oxy and Badeni's arc would end without seeing it. But that's just me realizing it in hindsight. Episode 13 and 14, I would say they're kinda like after stories, but the type that is oh so difficult to watch. Not because it's bad, but because torture has never been entertaining to watch. And before anything else, I want to make it clear that this anime has to be one of the best to have aired this year. And it should come as no surprise if most of us who've been following this week in, week out would call this their anime of the year. Having said that, I do have a few things to say about the anime that definitely stood out to me. First is that scene on the bridge back in episode 5. What dismays me so much about this scene is that evidently this was written as a sort of passing the torch to Oxy to continue the pursuit of heliocentrism. But seriously, how they've decided to cross a crumbling bridge? It's just way too convenient to end Glass's life, and I'm of the opinion that the author could have done a more natural way of taking him out of the story without relying on something as abrupt and cheap as this bridge scene. Second on my list is this scene with Yolenta and Piast. One of the points that Piast was trying to make to Yolenta is that while he considers the Holy Scripture as the truth, he is uncertain if people are able to interpret it correctly. Personally, I like this point of Piast, mainly because it reminds me of the days when I took philosophy of language in my university. One of the things I liked about that course is that it taught me that more often than not, people are quite terrible with interpreting language. So much that in a film about Wittgenstein himself would insinuate in that film that most problems in philosophy only exist because of misinterpretation, where person A would say X is good, but person B would think of X differently from how person A understood it and argues against it. And the ending, well, you have two people talking past each other. And quite frankly, such a scenario is often what I experience in my day to day, which sucks, but it did make me more careful with how I say and interpret language because I just don't want to experience that. Third off my list, you know how there's this torture scene in episode 11, which kind of functioned as a teaser of sorts on what to expect on Oxy and Badeni's ending? I swear to you all, I found this difficult to watch. And even though it's also a scene that functions as an introduction for two new Inquisitors to the story, it didn't really help me prepare when it was Oxy and Badeni's turn in episode 14. Second to the last in my script, in episode 14, when Novak revealed to our boys that prior to them, a 12-year-old Rafal was at the forefront of heliocentrism, I can't help it, lads. It's just, Rafal is just, he's kinda like Himmel from Frieren at this point. Like, sure, he's dead. Long dead even. But we can't help but appreciate how massive his influence is throughout the story, that even from beyond the grave, we just can't think of heliocentrism without thinking of Rafal. When a kid like him discovers the truth, you just know what you're seeing is someone who would literally take that belief to the grave, and death is just a side effect. He's just an amazing first protagonist, all things considered. And one final note, when Yolenta got tortured, I was so close to my limit, such that I started to ask, how many tortures are we going to see in this series? Like, I understand why it happens, but just because I do understand why it happens, doesn't mean I'm going to tolerate it. In fact, I don't. And it stressed me so much when Yolenta got tortured that going forward, I'm just hoping like seriously hoping that the irrationality that is prevalent in the church of this story would soon go away. Because seriously, how many corpses of genuine scholars do we have to see before it ends? In any case, that's about it for me. Definitely one of the best anime of the year, and I'm hopeful that by the end of the series next year, it gets the praise that it deserves. So yeah, until next time then, everyone.